Yeah, my mic is working, but my camera is not working.
No worries. I think we're live,
So
guys.
Yeah.
Um,
You could turn off your camera. That's fine.
yeah,
Benjamin, do you want to start with your intro?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Benjamin. I'm from World Token. We're a marketplace on ETH and BSC for now. We're adding other chains over time. I've been in. I was in crypto back in 2015 up until like 2018, and then things kind of they stopped happening. Things got a bit boring in the space, so I left. I came back into DeFi around early like Q1 2020, and then I learned about like Uniswap and everything. Things kind of went from there.
Awesome. Ken, want to do your intro?
yeah, I'm from Astor Guild Ventures. We are a guild. We have 2,000 scholars with 50,000 members in Discord, and yeah, we are very consecrated on those NFT games that are going live now, and yeah, I have experience in crypto since 2017, and now um, we are here, uh, yeah, letting other people play the game while earning, and that's pretty much very good at this time. And we also acquired a company in the US that is also doing NFT games, which is Kart Racing League that Mark Cuban is also following and also bought the token. We will be able to launch it about maybe less than a month from now, and yeah, see where it goes. And yeah,
Awesome.
we have a lot of new games after that.
Awesome. I'm Oriel Hein, head of corporate development at GDA and also the co-founder of NFT Basel. My background is traditional banking. Started off at Goldman, straight out of university, moved over to TD to trade derivatives, and eventually ended up in the crypto space working at GDA. Found an opportunity in the NFT space to essentially leverage NFTs as a method of transferring ownership of both digital and physical assets. Essentially using an NFT for more than just a digital collectible, but essentially as a form of authenticity and tracking provenance of physical assets, leveraging blockchain. We've created a whole company around it. Now we have our own marketplace and our own wallet. Securitized over $10 million worth of assets, not limited to art. So we've minted NFTs on physical watches, on cars. We've done canvases, sculptures, hosted 3 exhibitions globally, and now just exploding and trying to blow up the platform and really leverage NFTs for their true capacity.
Nice.
So yeah, guys, I guess like to start off the conversation, where do you guys see the NFT market heading in the next 3 years? Like, what do you think is the true utility of what an NFT is worth, far beyond the digital collectibles that we're seeing in the marketplace today?
Right. Oh, what happened?
Okay, we lost one.
His internet. Yeah, we're down to 2. Um, well, so I'm seeing a bunch of like experimental NFTs. I saw one that's like self-destructing NFT. Like after a bit of time, it will burn itself. I've seen, right now a lot of it is like NFT games. I'm seeing a lot of interest in having an NFT and it's has its representative counterpart in say a Metaverse game, which is pretty much. Oh, here we go. Ken's here. Um,
Yeah,
so
finally,
right now it
I
just seems like
changed the
it's very. Oh, you
browser.
changed the settings. Ah, yeah. So right now it seems very cosmetic, still with like the art stuff and everything. But I think we'll see it more in like a gaming space. It can be destroyed, repaired, maybe stuff like that. And then I know the like the real estate and watches and cars and stuff, as you mentioned, are picking up on it. I think we'll see. For now, it's pretty much just specific tokens, and they represent something. But I think maybe in the next 2 to 3 years we might see somebody build like the Uniswap of NFTs, right? Some game changing technology that is built on top of it, and then that's kind of what we'll see NFTs to be in the future, maybe.
Got it. So Ken, the question was, where do you see the utility of NFTs heading in the next 3 years, beyond what we're seeing in the current marketplace and beyond what like the generic NFTs we see on OpenSea, for example? Like, where do you see the market heading?
Yeah, so we have a good run this year, and then NFT is like something like giving you possession of those asset that is really unique. And then in terms of utility, there will be a lot of things that we can use this Ethereum blockchain. It has a specific name. Anyway, this NFT will definitely help us have those asset named upon us or can be kept for us, and then it will be helpful in our terms. It become helpful on the games that our guild members are playing. So in terms of playing, and then in terms of earning as well, it will have a good future for both the games and other things like art and those things that needed to be on the blockchain, something like that. So it's like a title. It's like a title of each property. So if you have it, then it means that you own it. So it will have a lot of future um, advantage for all of us. In terms of the price, maybe now you can see it's very high, but eventually it will have a boom and bust situation. But we are aiming for something that will counter that. So we are making a game that we are thinking that it might be possible to counter the weather of those crypto winter, as they call it. If we were successful on that aspect, then it might change the whole crypto industry of every 4 year cycle, something like that. We want to change that. That's all.
Got it. Yeah, I think for me the main pivot I'm looking to see in the out of the NFT market is really um, the getting rid of that defining line between physical and digital assets, where we reach a point where your physical assets end up being your digital assets and vice versa, and that falls into many aspects, but primary one being like if you buy, for example, a pair of shoes, those should be tied to a metaverse version of your pair of shoes, so that both your physical self and your avatar are capable of wearing it and showing it off. And then by doing so, you essentially track the ownership, the provenance, and you basically get rid of the market of fake assets. Everything
That would be
becomes
great.
much more authenticated, and essentially buying assets online becomes a much more secure process. There's no more risk of buying a fake.
Well, I mean, isn't there still risk of like right now, considering like the profile picture NFTs, let's say CryptoPunks, um, people can still, somewhat screen capture it, mint their own, and then try to sell that one. I know OpenSea has like verifications that okay, this is legitimate from the series. But what about anywhere else? Isn't that still a form of like piracy?
Agree. So yeah, I think it is. I think that's why. Well, that's kind of like the differentiating factor between, let's say, like um, buying art off eBay and buying
Of
art from a
course.
gallery. right? Like I'm going to
Yeah,
use the example of art because it's probably the easiest to go through. But
it's what it is right now. Also, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, if you're going onto eBay planning to buy a Mona Lisa, 99% chance you're going to get a fake, right? But
yep,
or 100% chance you're going to get a fake. Sorry, but if you go to a
yeah,
gallery, if you go to a gallery and you're seeking out a very specific piece of art from a specific artist, 99% chance you're going to get the real piece, because in order for that artist to end up in that gallery, it has to be an authenticated piece. And that's where I think marketplaces have to head. The having curated marketplace that actually filter
yeah,
out and work directly with creators um, is where you have the big differentiating factor. So, for example, with what we do at NFT Basel, we work with only the creators. We're not a secondary market, and we don't allow people to just walk in and mint whatever they want. Um, if we're creating an NFT for, let's say, an artist, we're working directly with that artist only. No one represents them, and we're getting the file or the physical canvas directly from them. So we know the piece is a verifiable true asset. And that's the only way you can create a block of data on the blockchain, is if we know it's 100% secure.
right,
What are some of the unique uses case of NFT today? Uh, yeah, that's one of the question.
right. Um, Ori, you have anything?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I think there's tons of unique cases going on right now. I
yeah,
think you're starting to see a lot of stuff where, like, for example, with Nike's NFT contract, where they are now creating like physical assets tied to digital assets. That's where these are really cool opportunities, right? Um, where you're actually seeing NFTs tied to a physical piece of clothing, or any kind of even memorabilia, right? And you're finally able to show it off on your avatar. So I think that's a very cool, unique case. I think something that, like even personally, something I'm working on is the transfer of deed using NFTs. So if you look at the real estate market, probably one of the most antiquated marketplaces in the world, and most
of
illiquid as
course.
well,
Yeah,
is the transfer of land. Finding a way to use an NFT to essentially do the land transfer and title transfer effectively, and then using your wallet instead of an old ring binder in the back of your closet as proof that you own that title. I think that's a massive value add, and I think those are really unique opportunities for the market. Very few people are really looking at it because it's very messy, and no one really understands both the blockchain world and the real estate world at the same time. Um, so that's why I think you're starting to see a lot of traditionalists break into the blockchain space, because now you're starting to thin out that gap a lot more.
Okay. I'm in a real estate business as well, so I have an idea on those titles. But in our country, it's still in the land. It's still in paper, like titles like that. Even in the U.S., we still have like that. Um, I think we can. I think eventually they will be able to understand it, but it takes so long. I saw a project like this in 2017 until 2018. They said they will going to tokenize each property, and they will be able to have a lot of owner for each land or each unit of apartment they are going to acquire. And yeah, I think the ownership for a lot of people for each property is not that yeah, it's not that applicable for most, because who will use it or who will be able uh, to have the ownership for each day of the time, or each time of the day each year. So it's not applicable for tokenized property, but maybe for each property you have each NFT code for that or something, then it will be applicable next time. But the government should also help with that also. So yeah, government tend to be so slow, so that will take some time, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're just getting a question. What needs to be improved in the current NFT landscape in order to push mass adoption? What barriers are we currently facing?
Oh, that one actually. I don't know if you guys saw the other day. Somebody posted they had an issue with their NFT from Adidas, right? And so they went on the live chat and they were saying, I don't see it in my wallet. Can I get some help? And the live chat was like, we don't have access to your NFT account, which is his wallet. And he was saying, well, he responded, it was probably for cloud, but he responded like, oh, should I contact Ethereum? And the person on live chat was like, yes, you can try to contact Ethereum because we can't do anything for you. So I think one of the main barriers to mass adoption right now is a lot of people, or say most people still out there, they don't understand how to use, wallets, MetaMask. They don't really understand blockchain. I think it's mostly an educational thing, maybe user interface. If we can make it maybe simpler to use without risking security, I think that would open the doors. It just opens the floodgates to mass adoption for NFTs and blockchain tech tokens,
Yeah, I
everything.
couldn't agree with you more. I think a massive component is the user interface and how simple something can be. Like with the NFT market that we're currently running, it's all we're essentially acting as the client facing components, and we're taking all the
Mhm.
complicated stuff and doing it in the back end.
Right.
And the purpose of that is we don't want to confuse like a 60-year-old man trying to buy a digital piece of art for the first time. We don't want to confuse
Right.
him through the payment process, right? Like there's no need to confuse someone about what a minting fee is or gas fees.
Yeah.
We'll consume that in order for the client to fully understand how to actually purchase an NFT. And I think that's where being short term, like selfless, is really beneficial, because long term you're going to be helping your business quite significantly if you're able to focus entirely on the consumer experience at this point.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
yeah, I think that should be the main focus of anyone who's trying to build any kind of business, or anyone who's trying to be a thought leader in the space. One, as you said, Ben, is really education, but also being conducive to mass adoption. And in order to do that, you have to make it as
User
simple as
friendly,
possible.
everything. Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty much.
Right, correct. About that. So it needed to be so easy for them to not able to do not need to see the back end or anything about
Yeah.
MetaMask, like
Yeah.
buy this or sell this, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to try, like, really, we should be using models like Amazon as the gold standard, right? Like, those guys have figured out how to make purchasing literally anything as simple as possible. And they manage it, and 100, like, their main focus is customer experience. And if you think about
Mhm.
it, like 10, 15 years ago, none of us were buying stuff online, or very little, right?
Oh
Now
yeah,
we're in a
yeah.
phase where we essentially purchase everything, and like 99% of it comes from Amazon, right? It's because they made it so easy. Um, so I think that would be the main focus. Another question we're getting is, how can we avoid fraud in the space?
Oh, okay, that's something World can touch on. So World Marketplace does allow like NFTs, digital goods and services. Think of it like freelancer.com, something like that with Bandcamp, anything really. But we focused on having escrow on all of the transactions because like for me example, I bought something on a marketplace before and I paid in Bitcoin, and if you don't like what you get, your coins are gone, right? It's part of the charms of Bitcoin, I guess, is it can't be reversed, it's finality, everything. But in terms of like e-commerce, that becomes an issue because then we it's also decentralized. There's no like ask the miners to reverse this one transaction or anything. Um, so we built a marketplace where all the transactions are, you buy an item, your money goes into an escrow, you receive your item. If you're happy with your purchase, you can release the escrow to the seller, and you're all good. If you're unhappy and the seller can, they could take it back or whatever, or they agree, okay, fine, you can get a refund. It's just hit a button and your money goes back to you. Neither of you had access to the money during the transaction, stuff like that. I don't know how, maybe for NFTs, we'll figure out another way to make it safer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we're gonna find new technology, new ways to go about things.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
to add to that point, I think having like escrow accounts, for example, are super
right.
important because especially when you start getting into the bigger assets. Like look at what happened with the Bored Ape last week that went for 60
Is
some
this the one
dollars by
that's
accident.
sold for the $3,000? The other one?
I think it went for
Oh,
an
that's
extremely
painful.
low price compared to the average. And had there been an intermediary basically giving it oversight or someone just to check this isn't a fat finger, something like this is a normal transaction, then
Hmm.
that would have been prevented and whoever accidentally sold their NFT wouldn't be so upset right now. But
Yep.
imagine, for example, you're doing a real estate transaction. There's no chance a real estate transaction over NFT is going to occur without some form of intermediary approving the transaction, right? So I think having some form of centralized decentralization is going to be
Yeah.
the key component to it. Because in the end, we kind of are submitting ourselves to a ton of risk by playing fully decentralized. And I don't think that's
Yeah,
a
there's going to
stable
be a
model.
balance of that at one point, right?
Exactly. Life
Because
is literally all about
centralization,
finding those two.
yeah, the balance, right? Because centralization gives us security in terms of like, you know, those kinds of errors, fat finger errors. Decentralization gives us security from like exploit attacks. So
Exactly.
we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, I agree. I think regulatory oversight, having platforms where there is someone in the back end literally just managing the flow of assets, or having a regulating body. It doesn't have to be a government body. It could just be someone who understands the space well enough to essentially approve the transactions.
Exactly.
Or a well managed AML or KYC kind of process where you really know who you're selling to and it's not a fraud.
Yeah.
Well,
An interesting point of that is also customer support is we have like a weird line with that right now, because anybody who is in blockchain enough to understand how these transactions work, how to look at even Etherscan or something, um, you have enough knowledge in a new enough space where you can use that knowledge to pretty much earn a significantly larger income. Um, and so you're not going to do customer service in the space, but we need people with that base amount of knowledge to do customer service, right? But the moment you get in and you learn enough stuff, you're automatically going to go up. You're going to start going into Uniswap. You're going to maybe make a project, whatever. So the hard, it's like the catch 22 side of it is we need more people who to learn more about blockchain, but we can't do that unless we have better like customer service type uh, security and information and people in the space. So we need those people before we can get more of those people. It's I don't know how that's going to happen right now. I think a lot of losses are just bound to happen and people will learn on their own. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I think customer service is going to be massive too. So for example, we have physical NFTs being minted, where essentially we're like chipping the physical assets, sealing it, and literally shipping the canvases or the sculptures to people.
Right.
Um, there was an instance where the logistics company forgot to ship the piece. And if we were just like a decentralized marketplace or completely decentralized marketplace, we would have failed the client
That's
because the
gone. Yeah.
logistics guy screwed up, right? So we essentially had to override the process, manually manage it, and we fixed everything. But no one's really doing that
Okay.
with these big digital
Yeah.
drops, right? Like everyone's kind of just leaving it out in the open and saying, well, the blockchain will figure it out. Not always.
Yeah.
Nothing is flawless, right? Like we have to, just as much as we have human error, there is still technical errors that happen. and we have to be ready to battle those and make sure that anyone on the receiving end doesn't feel left out to dry because their computer failed.
Yeah, correct.
Or their internet failed or something.
Exactly.
So we really think the same way. No? So all of us see the centralized body can help achieve those things that we needed for customer service and those how to fix the things that we need so people will be able to appreciate more of the blockchain and they will not be aloof on that technology. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just sorry, we're just getting a couple of questions on the side.
Yeah, good.
One of them is NFT hype is incredibly contested at the moment, for example, over Twitter. Do you think this is a healthy and sustainable form of attention towards NFTs, or do you believe this will change in the future?
Yeah, eventually it will change since it's in the hype right now. And well, if you have a hype, then there will be something like, yeah. So
Like
we
a
need some
crypto
correction.
winter,
Yeah,
right?
something like that. So we need some that, and then development will start, and a new product will arrive, and then it will continually evolve towards our uh, main use for it in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah, we might not see it clearly right now. Eventually, we will.
I agree with that. I think crypto in general has relied too heavily on hype and marketing as a form of disseminating the value that you're trying to bring out. Um, and that's why you've seen a lot of projects come out that really don't have that much like fundamental value or intrinsic value beneath them, right? Um, so I think one big component of what's going to make crypto and NFTs in general a stable form of investment and even just a stable form of consumption is going to be knowing that your asset actually has a fundamental value to it. And in order to do that, if there is fundamental value, you don't need to go on Twitter and brag about it. I think if there is fundamental value, just putting out the message will be more than enough, right? And I think that will be a result of having, I guess, like thought leaders in the space who really understand the assets that they're bringing to market. And that can be real estate developers who have their own NFT marketplaces, or that can be galleries who have their own NFT markets. But regardless, I think it's really important that we actually let go a little bit of this like pump and dump kind of strategy and move towards like stable growth. And that requires less hype and more like fundamental understanding of what we're investing in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, but I think that to reduce that kind of hype cash grab type thing, there has to be a little bit more maybe barriers to entry or something, or the audience does have to just evolve and choose which things they would buy more. Because right now everyone just thinks I'm gonna buy this because it's new. There's a lot of hype, right? It's new. There's a lot of hype. I think I can flip it for a quick 2x, and then from there it just kind of dies. And as people lose money, as Ken said, I think with more and more people losing money from stuff like that, eventually it'll die off, and we'll get the sort of crypto winter. And the important NFTs, the ones with like utility, innovation, they will survive and they will thrive like hell.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it leads to what we said before. It's having reputable marketplaces present that are centralized yet decentralized, and that know how
It's
to
the weirdest
essentially
thing.
know how to beat the middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It comes down to trust. Also, there has to be these, as you said, like leaders in the space that the consumers or even us, we're gonna have to trust certain things at one point or another. We're
Yeah.
running out of time here. You guys have anything else you want to discuss?
No, I think just in closing, like these kind of panels are super interesting, both I think for me and for people who are just listening. I think it's important
Yeah,
to be able to brainstorm these kind of ideas. Otherwise, we're kind of left to our own devices, and this kind of leads back to the lack of trust in the industry. I think being able to
exactly.
put a face to who is working behind a project is super important. And then also having the ability to ask the questions and actually dig into what someone is doing and what someone is trying to sell you on is fundamentally quite important. Um, so so yeah, so thank you to everyone who's a part of this and who's been hosting these panels. Um, GDA obviously, and anyone else who's hosting these crypto panels. I think you're doing a really important job in bringing this to the masses.
Yeah. What do you hope to see in the future?
I think for me, the main thing I want to see is in order to lead to mass adoption, I think we have to be able to integrate blockchain and crypto and NFTs in particular into our everyday life. And I think in order to do that, the old school have to adopt the new school. And I think it's our job to teach the old school why that makes sense. So I'm happy to be riding that wave and to be a thought leader in the space, and all you guys as well. I think it's all super important. We have to be willing to teach people more than anything why this makes sense.
Right.
Correct.
I think what I want to see, because that yeah, your answer was kind of like a very visionary long term answer. I think I just want to see me being able to use an NFT, right? Because I've used Bitcoin and tokens to pay for stuff before, but so far the only thing I've been able to do with NFTs is have them in my wallet, and that's pretty much it. I haven't I haven't used one for anything before. I think that if we see an NFT with a use case like that, we'll see way more adoption than what we have now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Ken, do you have something you want to see in the future?
For me, yeah, we are going to try to do what we think that can be helpful for the future of NFT. We are not going to wait for somebody to do it. We will try it ourselves, and um, let's see if we can, yeah, if we can do it as well. So we have certain things in mind that we will implement even after this. And then since we are already past our white paper even before, we didn't announce anything about the development that we're going to do next. So it's like uh, we're going to do things that we think that can help the industry, and not committing anything to anybody unless we did it first, something like that. So that's our goal.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, I think we're out of time. But yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, and thank you, Ben and Ken, for being a part of this and just being thought leaders in the space. We appreciate you a lot.
Yeah,
All right.
thank
Yeah.
you
You too.
for
Thanks for the
Tori
time.
and Benjamin.